Okay, Escape Plan 3, I'll try to keep this brief because I don't usually freestyle on camera due to all the copyright stipulations that could have my video taken down if I show clips of the film. I'd rather just vocalize it, and also for the message boards, this isn't self-promotion. This is just so I don't have to type it all out. Escape Plan 3 is what a lot of Stallone fans are saying is better than the second, but not as good as the first, and the first wasn't that great to begin with. The first was a decent watch. I kind of compare it to that film that 50 Cent is also somewhat responsible for and stars in with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino that was filmed actually 5 streets over from where I am right now, which is funny to mention, in which the whole reason to watch is to see these two legendary actors who have been boys for years interact for a longer period of time than you've seen them interact in previous films, and that was great to see with Schwarzenegger and Sly. Then you come to Escape Plan 2, which I just thought failed to make it into theaters. There's a skewed perception of direct-to-DVD films that perform well in other areas of the world in America, and I think I'm starting to understand this now, that you have this Chinese talent in the film, these great martial artists that probably are huge in China. And then you get the American clout by bringing in legendary American actors like Dave Bautista and Sly Stallone, and it's attempting to be the best of both worlds. Probably performs better in China and other places in the world where Sly is also really loved. He's really loved in China. And they're probably theatrical releases in China, but here the American audience perceives it as just failing to make it to theaters. And it's also not quite suited for American audiences, not only because of the Chinese talent and these martial artists who we're unfamiliar with to take the forefront of the action in the film, but also because it's just a different style of filmmaking over here. And it's like a lack of attention to not story, because it really seems like they try with the plot in both Escape Plan direct-to-DVD sequels in America. They seem to try to extend this story, but kind of fail to fit the American mold. And that's what's so weird about seeing Sly in these kind of films, is he is so American mainstream with everything he does, how he acts, how he writes, how he directs, how he makes a film come together, that to see him in a film that lacks certain attention to detail that every mainstream American film has is just sort of out of place. So you watch it because you're a Sly fan and you want to see him in action, and Escape Plan 3 will definitely hold you over to see him in action and seeing him do his own stunts. It's good to see that while you wait for Rambo 5 and Expendables 4. What you do have is a situation where Sly and Batista are marketed to be the stars of the film, which is a brilliant marketing ploy for the American audience, but it's a trick to make you think that they're the stars of the film, and they're not. What I can say about this for Sly Stallone fans, if you just wanted to see him in action, is there are a few great scenes where, I mean, they're gory and bloody, and Ray Breslin's arc is not quite kept up with because there's no need to, because these aren't mainstream sequels, they're direct-to-DVD sequels. So Breslin is just all over the place throughout Escape Plan 2 and Escape Plan 3. Is he the guy that breaks out of prisons? Is he a businessman? Or is he somewhat like Rambo, which is almost like what he's like in this film? The fight scenes are brutal, and so are the death scenes. They're very gory and very vicious. What's cool to see in particular is a one-take fight scene with Sly where he does his own stunts, because he hasn't done many of his own stunts in recent years. It's brutal, it's vicious, it looks like the punches actually connect, and it's really cool to see. Now, what I will say about Sly is after Creed, I feel like I'm noticing that he's not putting on as much as he used to in action films. I've always had this perception of Sly that he is a brilliant writer and a brilliant actor when it comes to drama, but for some reason he goes over the top and gets cheesy in action films. Like, you've got Rambo's brilliant and Rocky's brilliant, and then Cobra's like a little whack, and then like in the Expendables films he gets a little whack, even though those are supposed to be a little whack. They're all just supposed to be wacky, funny guys, and you're there to see the action. All good and well, but you're still dealing with a brilliant writer and a brilliant actor who, for some reason, once it comes to the action films, he gets very silly and very over the top, and everything is all yelling, and I can't do a Sly impression, but everything's all like yelling and outwardly overly expressive and corny. What I've noticed recently, I think post-Creed, is Sly seems to take every role with more ease now. The depth is always in his eyes, the emotion is always there. Even if he's just sleepwalking through a film like this that he's just there to get the paycheck for, is not going to be as big as everything else he has in development right now, which leads me to wonder why he even did this. But I gotta say, he really seems to hold it down in everything he does these days. And for that, there you have it, Escape Plan 3. If you're watching it because you're a Sly fan, He's good in it. He's really good in everything these days. I gotta say, he really seems to have dialed back the way he has a tendency to get over the top and ridiculous and silly in action films. And he seems to take on every action role as if it was a drama now. So he performs well in this, and he does his own stunts. And the action scenes that he is in are great, but there's not many of them. Otherworthy mentions Dave Bautista, pretty much the same thing. He's brilliant for the screen time he has. 50 Cent is like a throwaway character at this point. He's just there to get the clout of I'm a rapper who's now been in films with every great legendary actor you could think of, so God bless him for that. The girl that plays Abigail was replaced. I thought she was pretty sexy. It's also really funny to mention real quick. I don't know if Sly fans have picked up on this. I think Sly has gotten to a point where his wife doesn't let him do love scenes anymore because he hasn't kissed a woman on screen in like years, and I think that's kind of funny. That's Escape Plan 3 in a nutshell. I'm Savo. If you want to find me online, talk more about Stallone films and shit, I'm here. Make a few films myself, do a few reviews myself. Let me know what you thought of Escape Plan 3. I think I summed it up in a pretty good nutshell, though. By the way, for any Sly fans that are going to get upset that I critique the film because there's certain Sly fans that just want you to say nothing but positive shit about everything he's been in, if you think I don't like Sly movies, give me a fucking break.
The West Coast, Frisco, the West Coast. I'm that hood you've been missing. Strong definition of a talented, thugged out, upgraded edition.